I'm Akamesh. I'm back with episode 7 of my series, Reviving Ceylon Tea. In this episode, I wish to take you to a plantation which produces some of the best quality teas in Sri Lanka, while the estate itself is a very high profit-making, high-yielding plantation. Through experience, I must say that Kenilworth is an ideal location for snakes due to the presence of large extent of rocky stones coupled with ideal climatic conditions that is warm and moist for breeding many types of snakes. Of course, I am allergic to these creepy little fellows. Having worked on Kenilworth in the late 1970s for a brief period, I knew the road well. If travelling from Colombo to Hatton via Avissawella, you come across a village or can be called a small town called Kitulgala. One time, a sleepy and monotonous town where no one would like to stop even for a short time is slowly seeing some tourist-related activity. Since it was part of the wet zone rainforest, Kitulgala gets 2 monsoons each year, the northeast and southwest, making it one of the wettest parts of Sri Lanka. The town has a small population and did not have a steady industry up to about a decade ago. All of a sudden, someone took notice of the river below the road, which was rock-free and boat-friendly in many places along the river. Slowly, visitors from all over the country and abroad started arriving for whitewater rafting, especially when the place comes alive during the hottest month, January to March. Kitulgala River was the location in the Academy Award film making The Bridge on the River Kwai in 1950s. I think many of you might remember. It became a small tourist attraction for a long time, though nothing remains now except some concrete foundations for the bridge. There are some reasonably good Sri Lankan eating houses located along the well-tarred road leading to the next town, Ginigattena, and of course Kenilworth comes before that. Kitulgala is the last town village before entering Kenilworth estate, with Ginigattena on the other side as you proceed along the Colombo Hatton road. My aim was to reach Kenilworth Tea Garden by 9 am but reached the place an hour ahead. That gave me sufficient time to explore the estate where I was once employed for a short duration. Many things had changed during the past 34 years at that time, and my trip gave me a nostalgic thrill, expecting to find at least one person that I may have known from my time working there. As I entered Kenilworth, I looked for a plant called Cinchona, which I first saw during my short involvement with the estate in the late 1970s. The plant are large shrubs or small trees with somewhat rounded leaves with white or pink flowers. A few native physicians from the area used to visit the estate to purchase Cinchona bark, and it was through them that I learned that it was for medicinal purposes. The plant was long cultivated by people of some South American countries who discovered its value as a muscle relaxant to ease shivering due to low temperatures, and in later years the Europeans used it to control shivers induced by malaria. I want to take some pictures of these plants which were growing close to the road leading to the factory but could not find any. I asked a few people walking down the road, but none of them seemed to have even heard its name. Cinchona, which was a popular medicinal plant grown in Kenilworth, may be extinct now, I thought. Maybe still exists somewhere in the area, but sadly has long become a forgotten history. This plant was first planted in Sri Lanka in the Haggala Botanical Garden in 1861. James Taylor, the pioneer of tea planting in Sri Lanka, was one of the trailblazers behind Cinchona cultivation in the tea plantations. Having failed to locate my favorite plant, I then proceeded to explore the rest of the estate. Kenilworth is considered the flagship estate of Avissawella Plantations PLC. Situated in the central point in the Norelia district, it is located about 102 kilometers from Colombo. The climate is moderately warm and sweaty for most part of the year, with cool breeze at the same time. Due to the heavy rainfall it receives, which is approximately 4,500 millimeters spread over 200 days, coupled with warmer temperatures, the estate produces very high yield per hectare. I remember Kenilworth was the most profitable estate in the entire region 3 decades ago, and it continues to be so even today. Interestingly, it is believed in the name Kenilworth has its origins in England, traced to a magnificent castle in Warwickshire. The castle has been described by architectural historian Anthony Emery as the first surviving example of semi-royal palace of the later Middle Ages, significant for its scale from quality of workmanship. Whoever did choose this name for this estate must have thought of the scenic beauty it offered to the human eyes, a rare but eerie-looking distant surrounding when viewed from the high elevation. The estate elevation varies from 616 to 640 meters. It nestles between two prominent rivers of Sri Lanka, the Kalani River and Mahaveli, running on either side of the estate. The estate was originally owned by Gordon Fraser and Company Limited. Presently, Kenilworth, which consists of the divisions with a total extent of 603 hectares, is under the ownership of Avissawella plantations. The estate has 86% of its tea in high-yielding vegetatively propagated or VPT. Yield per hectare is 1,900 kilograms per annum, makes the estate one of the biggest profit-making tea plantations in the country. Annually, Kenilworth Tea Factory produces 560,000 kilograms made tea, excluding tea leaves brought from outside tea smallholders. The surrounding villages have plenty of small tea blocks cultivated by villagers, and Kenilworth is the most sought-after factory for selling their green leaf. In my recent visit to the factory, feet took me to several places down memory lane. The office I worked has now been turned into a staff quarters, and the factory has been given a facelift. The surroundings look much better than I could remember. However, the road, like most other estate roads, was mostly rough and bumpy. I visited the present factory built on a high elevation. The only staff who had arrived to the office quite early that morning recognized me and even knew my name. She called how I had helped her secure a permanent position when she was only a casual staff. I was glad she remembered that small favor even after so long, though I had forgotten her face or even her name altogether. I went downhill to have a look at the old bungalow I lived for a short period, where my wife preferred to stay indoors the whole day due to fear of snakes. I remembered the area was full of blood-sucking leeches as well. They used to crawl around in the backyard, often climbing even onto the wall. The present occupant, a staff working in the office, was happy to introduce herself. I made a use of the trip to take some quick pictures of the surrounding, which once amazed as well as frightened my family. The mountain range known as the Seven Virgins could be seen from the front yard of the house. The range became popular after a plane crashed between two of the mountains, killing all its passengers and crew in 1974. I thought I could cover the story on the following day when I visit some of the Muscale district estates. Behind the Seven Virgins, Sri Lanka's most famous mountain, Adam's Peak or Sri Pada, can be seen on a clear day, and I hope to cover it when I should be visiting the foothills of Adam's Peak. I visited the tea processing center and Mr. Satish, the factory manager, he was there at that time. The young man seemed to know I worked on Kenilworth long ago and was pleased to show me around. Kenilworth comes under the medium-grown category and enjoys an esteemed position as one of the best-selling marks of Sri Lanka tea. The factory is situated at an elevation of 616 meters and carries out an orthodox process of manufacture. A large number of indigenous village workers are employed on the estate. The surrounding villages did much on Kenilworth, as there are a number of small tea plantation owners who sell their leaves to Kenilworth. Totally, the factory produces about 800,000 kilograms of made tea per annum. The present factory was built in 1947. In July 2008, Kenilworth factory obtained a fair trade certification. Today, most of the Sri Lankan tea factories follow stringent security measures, not only against thefts and pilferages, but also in order to preserve their own manufacture strategies, which are kept as closely guarded secrets by every factory. Having finished my visit to Kenilworth, I left the place with a feeling of mission accomplished. See you all in my next video. Thank you.